Howdy, friendos. Looks like we are live now. Good stuff, good stuff. Let me just double check on YouTube to make sure that the stream is looking healthy, that the stream is sounding healthy, and for people to join, probably once the shock wears off. Monetization looks good. Stream quality looks good. I don't think I'm gonna set it to... Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep the music on. I'm gonna take that gamble. I'm not sure how Halo 5 soundtrack plays with YouTube's auto-flagging stuff. One of the first things I was afraid of is that the YouTube bots were gonna come for me. We're good. Hey, how are you all doing? Halo 5, huh? I don't know if you mean this on purpose, but your videos are very good for watching late at night. A little bit. A little bit. But hey, how are you all doing? Believe it or not, we are unironically playing this game. And we're going to have a good time. This isn't a trashing on the game stream. Here. I'm playing Halo 5 for the first time in years. Years. Come join. Yeah, there we go. That'll shock some people. Halo 5 Infection slaps. Yeah, Halo 5 Infection is actually, it's pretty cool. It's I think probably the only version of Infection. Does it have shotgun starts? I remember assault rifle starts. I could be totally misremembering. Either way, Halo 5 Infection was pretty dope. And it was really cool that out of the gate, they kind of worked with the community to get maps made. But, fellas, I'm going to be matchmaking in Warzone. Warzone is pretty dead. I can't really find matches in this mode. But, if you have it, go ahead. Hop on. Campaign or multiplayer? You know, probably both. Probably both. This is my little dude. You want to know a funny story about this? So, this is a bug that has, no pun intended, bugged me for years. Back when the Halo 5 beta happened in 2014, when you looked at your Spartan in the customization screen and rotated him, there's a stutter. So watch. Boom. See, he'll freeze for a second and then start rotating. And that stutter, I remember people talking about it during the Halo 5 beta, because back in, like, you know, Halo 4 and Halo Reach and Halo 3, that wasn't there. But then in Halo 5's beta, that was there. And it continued for a year up until the final release of the game. Wow. First Warzone match. You seen the Sonic 3 trailer? Oh, Andrew. I've seen the Sonic 3 trailer. It looks really good. I'll put it that way. I'm extremely happy with the look of the movie. All right, let's capture this base.
Level 2 wrecks are up.
You know, it is a shame that Warzone was not continued to some capacity.
Other guys took the north
Because the basic, like the Halo 5 variant of Warzone had a lot of problems. But it wasn't a bad idea, and from, you know, from what I understand, and I guess everybody else, like, it was a pretty popular mode. It's like kind of like a no-brainer to bring it back and iterate on it if it's the big success. Which console are you playing on? I am playing on the Xbox Series X. So it is running the highest fidelity version of the game, as well as I think it's got improved texture filter. I really wish Warzone was very good at Halo Infinite. I'm trying to think of what you could do, because you wouldn't have the rec packs. A lot of the weapon variants of Warzone, they exist because of the loot box system, you know? It's like you need filler content, I guess. So you add like a bunch of weapons that are kind of like, you know, the ones people don't really care about, like the yellow variant of the storm rifle that is just slightly more accurate than the regular storm rifle, and that's it. You know, like that way, if you roll one of the loot boxes and you get a bunch of those things, you lose, technically. It's like losing your money at the casino. But, you know, because you're trying to gamble to see if you can get the answer saw variant, or possibly get something better like a Halo 2 battle rifle. So I'm trying to think, if it was Halo Infinite and you didn't have the rec system anymore, how would you redesign it? Because you wouldn't need to worry about gambling anymore. So each weapon would be able to be more impactful. Like if you were to have a progression system of some kind and you were to bring back like a more crazy version of the weapon variance system, what would you do? Is this game alive? Not alive, but there's a couple people playing. It's kind of got its, like, cult community, you know? Like most Halo games did in their later years. I think of, like, back when the Xbox One launched, and then, you know, you got the Master Chief Collection, you got Halo 5 coming out, and you could still load up your 360, and there was a couple hundred people at any given day playing Halo Reach. Halo 3 usually had like 200. Warzone Assault was great. See, that's where I've got to disagree. I don't think Warzone Assault was very good. I liked it as a concept, don't get me wrong, but I think that I don't know if maybe it's too many players, or if it was just like the maps were not designed well for it. But I did find that Warzone Assault would often just become like 6 to 7 Spartans all huddled around the entrance of a door, throwing grenades through the door, while 7 to 8 Spartans on the other side are doing the exact same thing. And it was just kind of like that over and over again until someone finally got through and was able to get everyone inside and capture the point. And I'm not sure if that kind of like snowballing of there's just like a ton of guys and they're all chucking grenades everywhere and there isn't really a combat flow, it's just kind of chaos. If that is due to just like the maps not being designed for asymmetrical offense-defense gameplay. Or if it is something to do with just like too many players running around and so the Halo combat loop kind of breaks down a bit because the time to kill accelerates because everybody's firing at everyone. Is MCC still broken? I have not tested, and I'm not eager to test until we hear word from 343. Because allegedly, if you try playing MCC matches, people can just ban you. Like, they've taken control of the server you're playing on, and they can somehow get the anti-cheat to recognize you as a cheater and just ban your account. Basically take the point system from Battlefront 2 and apply it to all the weapons and vehicles in Halo Wars and optimize from there. Not a bad idea, actually. Definitely not a bad idea. I almost, you know what I wonder? This is going to sound crazy, okay? Warzone, I think the biggest problem with Halo 5's Warzone, and this isn't to say, you know, Halo 5's Warzone is like broken or anything, because it's not. Like, you can play it, there's a flow to the matches. But I think the thing that holds it back and makes it not feel quite as, like, refined, I guess, as it could be, is just the fact that it is still a little bit worried about drifting too far away from like the core Halo gameplay experience. I wonder if Warzone, a Warzone successor, would be the time to just bite the bullet and make classes for Halo, like Infiltrator class, Heavy class, and stuff. And spin it off from your traditional Halo arena and turn Warzone into its own fully fledged experience with classes, loadouts, and stuff like that, and design the combat loop around that. And do what you gotta do to bring out the best gameplay experience of Warzone. Oh, I also missed having unique turret variants in Infinite. I loved getting Jerome's minigun and using multiple damage boosts. See, a lot of the weapon variants I think were pretty lacking. But a lot of the vehicles I thought, and turrets, were actually like pretty fun and great even. Like, I liked the idea of George's chain gun. Like, that's a fun idea. I remember back when Reach came out, people were pissed off that you couldn't spawn George's chain gun in Forge as a turret variant.
Halfway to the win, team.
So being able to run around with George's chain gun is like a lot of fun as an idea. Class-based. So basically what Infinite was going to be. Sort of, just on a much, much, much bigger scale. So like instead of kind of being a small Overwatch clone, just fully realize the idea that they were trying to do here, which is like large-scale PvPvE warfare. I guess Firefight King of the Hill is the spiritual successor to Warzone. Oh, no, not at all. Not even remotely close. Warzone Firefight is, you know, just Warzone Firefight. It's its own thing. It's a lot closer, actually, to, like, Halo Reach's style of Firefight, where it's very much like wave defense. Hey, Late Night. Love you, buddy. Hope all is well. Things are going well. Things are going well. They tried that with Halo Reach and Halo 4. Oh, like the having like loadouts or class-based modes. Yeah, I know. What I'm saying is don't have it be in the game. Like, spin it off into its own separate download, you know? Because I think the biggest problem is if you're going to do something like that, what's that quote from Parks and Rec? Don't half-ass two things, full-ass one thing. It's kind of like that, where it's, you know, Halo 4, Halo Reach, and Halo 5's Warzone modes. They all obviously wanted to kind of try something that's not traditionally Halo. Reach with the invasion mode, Halo 4 with its multiplayer, and then Halo 5 with its Warzone mode. But it was too scared to really press the trigger and go all in on like a new experience, redevelop the combat loop, redefine the gameplay, the sandbox, the way players interact with AI and each other and everything. Like it feels almost like a couple steps removed from a Halo custom game, if that makes sense. What I'm saying is you start from the ground up with like, this is not a traditional Halo multiplayer. And then you think, what can we add? What can we add? What can we change? You know, to make this a more fleshed out experience. The fact that Grun Goblin isn't in Infinite is a crime. Legit one of the cooler enemies 343 designed. Interestingly, the Grun Goblin was going to be in Halo Infinite. There was even, from what I understand, concept art of one of the Spartan Hunters being a Grunt Goblin, back when like Spartan Hunters were a bigger concept. But you know, game development happens, things get cut down due to budget, due to time and stuff. But part of the reason that the Grunt Goblins were cut was because a producer on Halo Infinite Tim something
Late Dominarch's bringing
was
a lot of
never a
residents
fan of
to
grunt
Central
humor. He didn't really like grunts talking in Halo 5, and he thought the grunt goblin was the most annoying thing on the planet. So they had it, like, you know, moving along. Things seemed to be going okay, and then he was just like, get this thing out of here. We're not doing grunt goblin. Sorry for the terrible gameplay, by the way. It's very hard to play the game with a controller, as well as keep glancing over the chat on the other screen.
Wreck confirmed.
But yeah, that's the story about the grunt goblin as far as one of my friends told me.
Our team destroyed Dominarch.
Why won't they port this game to PC? Seems like a missed
Closing
opportunity.
in on victory.
It's a good question. I wonder if it's the same reason that you don't have a Steam release of Halo Wars 2. What they're thinking about is like because when you port, like, when you want to bring something to a new platform and stuff, it costs money because you need to assemble a team. You need to consider like the marketing of this new port. Are you going to make a trailer for it? Because then, you know, that costs money. You got to figure out what music you're going to do. You've got to storyboard the trailer and plan that out and stuff. You know, so marketing's got to do their thing. Then you've got to start, you know, seeing how many resources you have and how many people would be required to bring the game to PC. And then from there, you got to play test it. You got to make sure it's not like a broken piece of crap. You know, as well as you got to make sure that the infrastructure for the servers is actually like designed for Steam and stuff. And on and on and on and on. So it seems very simple at first, but then it balloons into this massive project. And what you've ultimately got to do is go to your superiors and say, we would like $5 million to assemble a team to port Halo 5 to the PC and release it on Steam. And then the men who crunch the numbers, they will tell you either, okay, go ahead, or no, it's going to make this much money, and you're going to have to pull these people off of this project, which is going to earn us this amount of money, and blah, blah, blah. So, unfortunately, it's a lot easier said than done. Hey, Late Night, what is your opinion on Halo 5's faction with the Guardians? Halo 5's faction? I personally liked the faction, but the Guardians were way too tanky. You never fight Guardians. Do you mean the Warden Eternal? Okay, but we literally have Grunt Humor Towers in Infinite. I think that would be worse for him. Well, the Grunt Towers, here's what I think is going on with the Grunt Towers. So, that Tim guy that I mentioned, that producer that didn't like the Grunt humor, he quit a while. Somebody could probably pull up the timeline, and I can give you my theory on what happened with the Grunt Towers and how more Grunt humor got added to the game, despite this guy cutting the Grunt Goblin. Sorry, just had a sip of coffee. I think what probably happened was he said, like, no grunts, get this stupid Grunt Goblin out of here, and then he did quit 343. I forgot what year he quit 343 in. But then Halo Infinite was showed off. It was delayed by a year. Joe Staten came in, and, you know, they have talked about how they added a little bit more content to the campaign here and there in the open world to improve things, make things feel a little bit more dynamic. And the Grunt Towers are all voiced by Joe Staten. And to be honest, the Grunt Towers in Halo Infinite's open world feel extremely tacked on. Like, none of them really feel like they are... none of them feel very organic to the game. Like, the humor in them, just their placement, they look like assets that were just, like, placed into the open world, rather than having kind of, like, been there with encounters designed for them and stuff like that. I suspect that they were probably added much later. And then Joe Staten is like, hey, you know what would be really funny? Get me back into the recording booth. I'll do my grunt voice. Any new thoughts on the campaign or same as before? New thoughts, believe it or not. If Halo 5 reported to Steam, what sort of refinement additions would you like to see out of it, beyond the baseline features, like keyboard functionality and whatnot? I would love to see them let you uncouple character animations from that awful optimization system that they have in this game, where it just cuts the frame rate of animations beyond a few feet of the player. This is also something that I noticed about Halo 5 upon revisiting it. A lot of the skins in this game, they're more abstract. Like, they're less camouflage. Like, I don't think there's actually any military camouflage of any kind. But you'll notice with Halo Infinite, it looks like a lot of the skins are kind of almost based upon a grid of the gun's parts. So it's like the shell of this pistol is going to be red, the grip is going to be purple, and blah, 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 you know? Where this looks more like an actual pattern was designed and then wrapped around the weapon. So they are a little bit more, I guess, interesting to look at in this game. Just something interesting. Okay, Late Night. The faction is the Prometheans and the Guardians that you fight. They were the Forerunner tech or something, but 343 could have taken a better approach to... Are you referring to the Warden Eternal, the big dude that you have to fight like a lot of times in the campaign? How different does Halo 5 feel compared to Halo Infinite? Pretty different, but also pretty similar in a couple areas. Oh my god, Mr. Nowhere says, one of the Halo games of all time. Multiplayer was decent, in my opinion. Yeah, multiplayer was decent. Good to see you, Mr. Nowhere. What rank are you in Halo 5 multiplayer? Yeah, it's good to see you, by the way. Not sure if you saw that I follow you now on Xbox. And I've got you set to favorites. You've made a name for yourself. Yeah, so, okay, Halo 5 does feel very similar to Halo Infinite in that the aiming doesn't feel quite right. There's this... It's like a weird input lag, but it's not on the surface, like there is a delay between pressing your buttons and whatnot. It feels almost like it dynamically on the fly, your acceleration is being adjusted. So your turning is less responsive in some instances and more responsive in others. And then it kind of feels like your aim assist is kind of randomly strengthened up or dropped. It's very odd and hard to describe. And I remember when the Halo 5 beta launched in 2014, aiming felt great. It kind of felt like Halo 4 a lot, you know, and Halo 4 I think still feels great. It's very easy to like look around in that game. But then when Halo 5 launched, something was different. Something happened in that year between the Halo 5 beta and the Halo 5 launch period in the way that aiming is handled under the hood, that it feels like something broke in the engine. And Halo hasn't really felt the same since. Halo Infinite feels even kind of worse in some areas on controller, I think, than Halo 5. But an area that I do think Halo 5 is possibly better than Halo Infinite is it does feel like the interpolation between animations feels smoother. So what I mean by that is when you go from walking to sprinting to sliding to aiming to clambering, you know, you do a bunch of different animations all at once at the same time. Like in Halo Infinite, you can almost see the break and then the new animation starts. where good interpolation would kind of dynamically adjust each animation so that they naturally flow into each other. And I think the animation interpolation in Halo Infinite is a little bit spotty, especially with the sprint animation.
We got Spartans here.
I was ranked 72. I think it's been a long time since I visited Halo 5's vaunted halls. Vaunted? Is that a word? Hang on. Vaunted definition. Oh my god, it is! Praised or boasted about, especially in an excessive way.
Ready to unleash the full force of the core.
That is such... Oh my god. That's funny.
Red confirmed. Red confirmed.
Not like the humor of like haha Halo 5, but more like just that's an extremely unique word to use to the point that I have never heard it in my life. Ugh. Where's the face cam? The face cam is currently hidden right now. Because the wife is behind me looking very beautiful, but also doing things on the computer. I noticed thrusters in Halo 5 feel smoother in animations. Well, I don't think it's the animation. The animation is more or less the same. It's the acceleration. It's more fluid. Like, because in Halo Infinite, what they tried to do was they made it very linear, if that makes sense. So it's, when you activate it in Halo Infinite, you suddenly get moved along a line 5 feet in front of you or 5 feet behind you or whatever, where in this it kind of feels like the physics engine itself has pushed you in a direction. So there's a bit of a momentum feeling to it, so it feels more organic, where Halo Infinite's, you know, feels more scripted. The man cannons, actually, in Halo Infinite, they don't operate off of physics, if I remember right. They operate off of, well, scripting. Like, you are kind of, like, dragged along the air in a linear path. And that's one of the unfortunate aspects of them developing Halo Infinite's multiplayer infrastructure before the physics simulation was done being developed. So they had to cut corners to get the game, like, you know, working as the engine was being developed. So they switched fan cannons over to something that was scripted. I swear your Spartan is like a Magneto clone with how strong the bullet magnet is. That is definitely something to compare between Halo Infinite. Is Halo 5, I am sometimes not aiming at my target and I'm still getting headshots. Like, I am not hitting him, yet the game is like, congratulations, here's a headshot.
Other guys, not so much.
I'll actually show you in the next Warzone match. There's an attachment that makes it worse. If you can believe it, there's a red dot, not a red dot sight, a hipfire sight? What do you call it? Either way, it takes the already sort of ridiculous bullet magnetism and makes it stronger. So you can just be aiming next to the head of people and you'll get a headshot because all your bullets will curve into their head. One thing, though, that is in Halo Infinite's favor is the visuals look much better in Halo Infinite. In Halo 5, everything... The rendering pipeline in Halo 5, I think even for 2015, wasn't, like, brilliant. Everything is kind of on a grade of shininess. Like, all the materials in the game look exactly the same. Like, your gloves on your hand, your armor, your gun, it all looks like it's made out of the exact same material, just different levels of shininess. And that extends to the characters in front of you and stuff. Like, it looks plasticky. because of the way that the game is rendered. And Halo Infinite, they were able to get their PBR materials sorted out and upgraded. So in Halo Infinite, metal looks more like metal, rubber looks more like rubber, and dirt looks more dirty, you know? As well as shadows in Halo Infinite do look better, I think, for the most part, than this game. In this game, your guy, it's distracting, actually, going back in terms of technology, because all I notice is that my gun doesn't cast any shadows at all. And my Spartan does not cast a shadow onto the gun in front of me, which is the thing Halo Infinite does do. Halo 3 Spartans were made out of plastic. They were coated in a gloss varnish. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. They've got that yeah, it's almost like nail polish. Like they're very slippery looking. That is more to do with just like the time period. That was like the early Xbox 360 look that most games had. Yeah, it was just like the best way that you could represent different materials in an early Xbox 360 game was, how wet do you want the object to look? Metal is super wet. Skin, no wet. Halo Infinite definitely feels like a step up visually. It does. Though that being said, Halo 5's so Halo Infinite and Halo 5 are in the same boat in regards to their explosions, which is they don't look that good, and it's distractingly just a 2D billboard. You know, it looks flat. It looks like a GIF of an explosion that's been photoshopped onto the screen, rather than an actual like fireball with volume and depth to it that lights up the area around it. But between the two games, Halo 5 and Halo Infinite, the grenade explosion does look better in Halo 5. Both of them, I think, are a step down from the presentation of the grenade explosions in the 360 Halo games. But between Halo Infinite and Halo 5, I do think Halo 5's looks a little bit better. Is Halo 5 still relatively well populated? Sort of. Warzone is a pretty dead game mode. Like it's, you've got like your Slayer, Infection, and Warzone Firefight, and that I think are the modes that are guaranteed to find you a match. Outside of that, it's a little bit of like, well, you know, figure it out. I always kind of felt like Halo 5's graphically looked prettier than Halo Infinite, but Infinite's art style is better than Halo 5's, if that makes any sense. Well, graphically, it definitely doesn't look better than Halo Infinite, but I do think color, very, like the use of color, I think, in Halo 5 is actually a little bit better. Halo Infinite, I'm not sure if maybe it was due to the situation that it was developed during key points in the development, like, you know, in the home stretch when you're really dialing in the color saturation of the maps, the filter over the game, the color grading and everything. But it does feel like with Halo Infinite, something got lost in translation a little bit, and so the overall color balancing of the game is a little bit too leaned into the blues and grays. Well, let's try searching again. I like Halo Infinite's plasma grenade explosion on Ultra Graphics, but you have to disable TAA in order to see all the particle effects. Well, the thing about TAA, though, is sometimes you do want to leave it on because those visual effects are designed to be enhanced with TAA, which sounds crazy because TAA does make games look very obnoxious and blurry. But they are kind of like reduced in quality with the understanding that TAA will do what it can to reconstruct it a little bit. So the end result is the game does look a little bit blurrier, but it runs faster because technically everything is running at a reduced graphical quality and then being reconstructed with TAA. I mean, that's, you know, that's not exactly what TAA does, but that is like the simplest way that I can describe it. So if you disable TAA in Halo Infinite, there is some stuff that does actually look pretty broken. Such as like the grass, where it just becomes like a mess of pixels. I think Halo 5 has the Halo 4 problem of the lighting making everything too bright. Art style doesn't help either. Yeah, it's too many rounded surfaces. Too many rounded surfaces that are very clear, very clean, as well as like material rendering not quite being there, and then you throw in the bloom, and then you throw in kind of like the weird shadows and how people don't really blend into the environment very organically, and it does end up, I think, Escape from Ark, that Warzone map, that's probably one of the uglier looking Warzone maps, as well as the Raid on Apex Legends. What's the map called? Hey, Late Night, how much research do you put in your videos? Because they look amazing. A fair amount of research. I actually talk to the developers before I write the script. I reach out to what developers I can. Some get back to me, some do. I've made some friends by doing the evolution videos, and I've got a couple developers that are currently helping me with the evolution of the Jackals, which evolution of the Jackals is nearing completion. Have you seen they've announced the new champion season for Halo Infinite? It seems we're getting a new free-for-all mode, or a new Firefight game mode and map. They announced it. Oh, I didn't see that. Here, let's check that out. Okay. I'm going on to X, formerly known as Twitter. Have they, like, actually talked about it? Or is it just... Oh, wow. Wait, no, that's HCS stuff. Okay, I don't see any information about the new season. So is this just stuff that people are talking about? Yeah, I don't see anything. Okay. Halo 4 does kind of look washed out. Halo 5 is oversaturated, but Infinite is absolute. See, now we've got kind of like nobody's playing. Nobody's playing Warzone. Come on, guys, hop onto Warzone. Halo 5's enemy AI felt very BS last week. I was playing Firefight, and I was getting aimbotted by a group of ghosts and a wasp. Here, we'll switch over to Firefight. Yeah, Firefight... So, people have asked me why I don't like Warzone Firefight. And Warzone Firefight is kind of frustrating for me because... Back when this game came out when I was in high school, no, not high school, sorry, Halo 4 when that game came out and I was in high school, Halo 4 was very frustrating because there was just no firefight mode. And Spartan Ops replaced Firefight, and you couldn't customize Spartan Ops. And it wasn't as replayable as, you know, one of the most fun things to do with Halo Reach was have some buddies over after school, give us unlimited health, unlimited ammo, fusion rifles, and we just go crazy and get a bunch of kills, and it's just like a good time. And then Halo 4 is like, no fun. You're gonna play our weird Spartan Ops thing. And then Halo 5 didn't launch with that at all, and still no Firefight. And then they did announce that Firefight was going to be coming, but it was going to be only matchmaking, still no custom games. And on top of that, the AI wasn't as good. And it turns out that the reason the AI in Firefight is so bad is because they are running off of Microsoft's cloud compute. I think it's like Azure. I forgot what server service Microsoft uses, but that handles most of the AI calculations. And because of the amount of players on any map at any given time, as well as like, you know, vehicles and stuff, all the AI are incredibly simplified. Like very, very, very simplified. And that basically just translates to they feel robotic and they have insane aim. And they don't really feel like the Covenant. You know, they don't feel like living intelligent creatures. They feel like weird autonomous drones that are wearing the skin of Covenant creatures. And couple that with like the weird balancing of like when you die, it takes like a minute for you to respawn and stuff like that. It's just like, I appreciate the idea of like an objective attack mode, you know, where you have to do a bunch of objectives each round and stuff, but I think that Halo 5 Warzone ended up feeling very kind of like broken in a not good way. And it's very funny, I guess, like to see some of the new generation of Halo fans that are saying Halo 5 Warzone was peak Firefight, because I was there when this mode came out, and people were like the forums, the Waypoint forums. You could not say anything without it becoming an argument about how badly Firefight was ruined. And how much 343 needs to stop holding Reach's Firefight back and just bring it to Halo 5, like it's that simple. Late Night Gaming, what is a hot take you have about Halo? I have many hot takes. One of my hot takes is Halo is more fun when automatic weapons are limited to close range. And burst weapons and single shot weapons are the ones that you can use at range. That's one of my hot takes.
Confirmed.
But probably a crazier one is I think that the Halo like Master Chief and Cortana drama is the least interesting part of Halo, and one of the worst parts of Halo, and it distracts from the stuff people are genuinely interested in, which is the bigger world and the fiction of the Halo universe. And I think that one of the reasons Halo Wars 2 was liked so much, despite it having a fairly shallow story as well as Halo 5, is that Halo Wars 2 did not have any Master Chief or Cortana melodrama, so it was literally just cool UNSC tech, cool alien tech, cool alien Forerunner world, massive battles with lots of military explosions and alien mech suits stomping around, and like, that's it. You know, it cut to the chase. It knew what you were here for, and it gave you that. And I think it would be in Halo's best interest to stop telling stories where Master Chief is sad and Cortana is sad, and start telling stories where Chief is in a war zone, or Chief is on an adventure to do a thing. And there's lots of military, lots of guns, lots of, like, yeah, basically. Can I turn the game audio down a little bit? I can do that for you. Thank you for asking so politely. Yeah, and the invincible turrets are the worst thing about it. Yeah, it's very annoying that the phantoms can come down and you can't destroy them, and they have invincible turrets, and those can absolutely eviscerate you. Because one of the, the best things about, like, Halo is, hey, the Covenant are coming. We can see their phantom. Let's see if we can destroy the phantom before they arrive. But you can't do that here. And Reach was also very guilty of that, which was pretty annoying in Reach, but at least Reach let you destroy their cannons, so that at least you weren't, being killed by an indestructible AI. But I do think a strength, let's talk about a positive, okay? So that it's not just the complaint train. I do think a strength of Warzone Firefight is that there is a, like, this is pretty bonkers. Like, the combat loop isn't very solid, but the scale is undeniable. And I do think that Halo could benefit from having, like, a kind of massive team-based objective attack mode where you're cutting through defenses of enemies and trying to secure a thing, or defending a position from enemies. And Halo Infinite's Firefight, it is limited to just hunker down and defend this specific position. And I do think that gets a little bit old for matchmaking, because ODST's Firefight, which was that did not actually have matchmaking. So it was kind of like, the assumption was if you were going to be playing ODST Firefight, you were probably going to be playing with your friends, right? So you were going to have a good time regardless. You weren't going to be bored because you're with your buddies playing this fun little survival thing. Reach, on the other hand, did have matchmaking. And I do think the matchmaking Firefight was not quite as fun, because you're just playing with randoms who have their mics muted and stuff. So it just becomes kind of like, killing Covenant in the same environments over and over again. So I think something kind of like this, where it's you and a team having to push into a hostile environment to do a thing. Complete a task.
Round 4. Defend those Forerunner cores.
I'm in your game right now. Hey! Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, not a huge fan of Infinite's Firefight. Oh, I'm a huge fan of Infinite's Firefight. Don't get me wrong. Like, Infinite's Firefight feels so validating, because I didn't like, Halo 5's Firefight that much. It felt kind of like, okay, I wasn't crazy. I did like Reach's and ODST's style of Firefight better. Because, the AI is a little bit more competent. The rules of engagement are more similar to a campaign setting. Because Halo 5 Warzone Firefight, it makes a lot of odd changes that are very out of sync with how I understand Halo to play. Like, when I run up to a vehicle with an AI in it, I should be able to board the vehicle, right? Well, you can do that for some vehicles in Warzone Firefight, but you can't do it for others, and it's up to you to figure out which ones you can't board. The AI, they are very reactive, they're very intelligent, but here they're very kind of like dumb. And sometimes Plasma just doesn't work on an Elite's shield, because that's the Elite with the Destiny name above its head and the Destiny health bar. And it's just kind of like, there's a lot of weird rules that kind of break Halo's combat a little bit. And I do like that Halo Infinite's is more standardized. Like, if you played the Halo 5 campaign, if you played not Halo 5. If you played Halo Infinite's campaign, Halo Infinite's Firefight is exactly the same. Same rules of engagement, same AI with the exact same AI tuning and stuff. Down to the point that even the bosses are characters that you saw in the campaign mode. The original Firefight for me was a boring shooting gallery. I need an objective on a relatively big map, like in Warzone Firefight and King of the Hill Firefight. For matchmaking purposes, yeah, I do agree, because it helps things, you know, speed up a little bit. And it plays better to a matchmaking environment because there is a victory state, whereas before, you know, it was just, you know, see how high you can get. No, not God, someone's gonna take that out of context. It's see how high of a round you can get to, which is why I don't think, on the MCC at least, ODST is very fun, the Firefight mode, if you go into matchmaking. Because, you know, even Bungie understood that it wasn't really designed for matchmaking. And then for Halo Reach, they added things like rocket fight, you know, because, you know, at least have like a little bit of fun. This probably does get a little bit boring. I hate how everything is round, especially the human structures. Yeah, Halo Infinite really did go hard, or Halo 5 really did go hard in on that kind of like round lunar base, like kind of like NASA, not NASA punk. It's not NASA punk, because I don't think it looks quite as aesthetically pleasing as NASA punk. It's hard to describe it, but yeah, lots of round for the UNSC, which is a little bit odd. UNSC are usually a little bit more angular. There we go, we got that guy. The 8 players is fun, but it can be a little bit too clustered at times. Yeah, I do agree. I do think that the having so many players in a match, it means also you got to bump up the AI density, you know, and in order to, you know, make it hard, because like there's going to be players running around everywhere with whatever, and they're given whatever weapon they want, you know, because there's so many enemies. So then you got to make the enemies a little bit more lethal, and so they kill you a lot fast, and it becomes kind of, it creates this like snowball effect, which kind of ends like, you know, here where you probably noticed I haven't meleeed anybody, which that's a pretty big part of Halo combat is your melee attacks. I can't get close to anybody because it's too dangerous. And that's kind of, that is more Destiny-like, where it's just kind of like a bunch of enemies that are really hard to kill, and you're kind of at the other side of the room just aiming down your sights at them until they're all dead. And I do think if you were to do something like maybe 5 players, or even 4, the classic 4, you could probably lower the AI density a little bit, make each AI a little bit more impactful, and you'd probably be able to get a bit more of that Halo-y dance out of the game. Doom 2016 Tech and Overwatch had the same look. Yeah, the like super round, like, hey, we're in the next gen, like we have the polygons to make things look round. I remember when the Hydra was good. Hey, the Halo Infinite Hydra is plenty good, man. I actually like the Halo Infinite Hydra better than the Halo 5 one, just because the Halo Infinite Hydra, it feels like there is more tactical uses for it, because it does slow faster. What is wrong with me? It does fire slower. You have more opportunity to kind of like slow down and think about it. It fires slower, but each missile is more impactful. So there is more opportunity to actually make the thing count. Where in Halo 5, it's just kind of like a, go crazy, kid. Get yourself a multi-kill. This thing is easy peasy. Like there isn't a lot of I guess, tactical uses for it outside of just go nuts, kid. Ugh. Here, let me go get a snacky bar. Let me go get a snacky bar, because I bet there's also a bit of low blood sugar going on. Did you not eat? Where are the bars? Where'd I put them? We had a big box of like cereal bars, and I just can't find it.
You're dropping feet first into a bad situation.
Like, I literally had it before the stream. I had two snackies before the stream. I'm right now fasting because the wife is gonna make some delicious Korean food after the stream is done. Thank you, baby. I love you. Okay. Not gonna lie, the design and functionality, Halo 5 Hydra is better. No. Oh God, no. No. I disagree, sir. I think, I think the Halo 5 Hydra is kind of like, it doesn't really look like a UNSC gun. It doesn't really look like a Halo gun. It kind of looks like, I guess, something more akin to, like, Killzone than Halo. Where the Halo Infinite Hydra, that thing, I could see it in Halo Combat Evolved. It fits the Halo aesthetic so well. And I think mechanically, the fact you switch between the firing modes, and that there's just, like, no aiming down the sights for it, but rather you manually switch between the firing modes, and the rockets are a little bit more impactful, but they do fire slower, means that there are times where I'm like, this is a point where I should use the thing's non-tracking mode, or this is a time where I should probably switch it to tracking mode. It's more multi-use in Halo Infinite is the best way to describe it. And I think people who say that it's bad in Halo Infinite only say that because in actuality, they're not good with it and they don't know how to use it. And so they just get frustrated and just say, gun is bad. And then when I pick up the Hydra in Halo Infinite, it never fails to get done what I need it to get done. It's even pretty gnarly up close. If you've got like a guy coming at you, switch it to the non-tracking mode, just land one hit, and then his shield is vulnerable enough that you can kill him in one punch. So it's just, you know, pop him in the face with a rocket, and then beat him down, and there you go. Is Halo's narrative at its best when it only has flat and static characters and factions with binary, uncomplicated morals and a big helping of military jingoism? It's sort of. I mean, not to that comically simplistic extent. But I do think Halo, if it's gonna do like military stuff, it's better to not get too lost, I guess, in the mud with the overall narrative, and just focus on providing like a fun action sci-fi story or military story, kind of like the Halo Wars games. If you want to do something that's a little bit more complicated and something a little bit kind of like off for the Halo series, then you could do something, a spin-off more like ODST and stuff. But even ODST, what I would say is ODST did still very much focus on kind of like that, you know, city under alien invasion, alien invaders, us versus them type of stuff.
Nice take, down.
Wow, that sounded very, very Trumpy. I actually feel very ashamed of myself. I didn't mean that. But hopefully you get it. When you play a Halo game, part of the fun is you are defending the human race from actual monsters from other planets that have better technology than you and can do things that humans can only dream of because they're so advanced and they're crazy and they're going to kill us all. Yeah, the non-lock-on mode, if you hit vehicles in Halo Infinite, it shreds. It does shred so much. A big problem, though, I think, with the Hydra is that a lot of my experience with it comes from learning how to use it with a mouse. On controller, I actually think the Hydra in Halo Infinite is fairly difficult to use. Just because, you know, aiming in Halo Infinite is pretty difficult in general. I think Halo Infinite's just, like, inherently weird, kind of, like, screwed up aiming. Makes it very hard to get a good gauge on how good guns are. I thought the Commando was a Titanfall gun. Oh yeah, no, the Commando does just look like that one gun from Titanfall or Apex Legends. I forgot the name of it. It's like the iconic Titanfall gun. Yeah, the Commando is a very uninspired design for a weapon, like astonishingly uninspired. I wish 343 would give us a new roadmap. Halo's kind of MIA at the moment. To be honest, I'm sure 343 doesn't even quite understand what the next steps are. I mean, I'm sure that the studio does, but like they're so kind of not confident that it's like it's better to wait until you have concrete plans to announce to the community than just say, hey, we might do this, but plans could change, and piss everyone off. What the heck is Certain Affinity doing? I'm not sure. I know that Tatanka, or whatever it was called, did not happen. It did not happen a while ago. They struggled to kind of spin up for full-scale production for that, as well as there were a bunch of other like issues with whether it be the engine or just kind of like getting the game to come together. And so Tatanka is not a thing anymore, which is, you know, sad. What kind of weapon should I get now? This P90 SMG is pretty wild, huh?
All right, final round. Threat confirmed.
Snap. Centered crosshair makes you sad face. Yeah. I too am a connoisseur of lowered crosshair. I actually remember when this game came out, for some reason the look of the game, it didn't look right. And I couldn't tell what it was for the longest time. It just, like, even Halo 4, you know, which has a very different aesthetic look, I could still see, like, the Halo-y DNA in it. But for some reason, Halo 5, something looked off. And it wasn't until I was, like, I made the realization while editing a video that all crosshairs in the Bungie Halo games, minus the first game, they're below the center of the screen. They're not in the direct center of the screen. And then I noticed Halo 5, the crosshair was in the center of the screen, and that's it. That's what made Halo 5 feel so weird to me, is because for a decade, over a decade, Halo had that look. You know, the skybox was usually very pronounced. the field of view for the game usually looks very natural. Because in the real world, your point of focus is not direct. It's not like a video game. You don't have a crosshair in the center of your field of view that you're focusing on. It is actually more like the classic Halo games, where your point of view is usually off-center. Because you're standing up straight, and then we're all tall people, right? Even short people. You know, we're all tall. Even, hey, 4'7" is tall considering. And so we are all looking down at the floor to an extent, from a point of standing up straight. So the lowered crosshair does actually simulate a real-world point of focus more realistically. And that is one of the reasons Bungie went with it back in Halo 2, was to kind of give Halo a more real-world look. As well as, like, you know, it also kind of just naturally makes the FOV look more expanded, because you got a little bit more vertical overhead. I exaggerate partly, though I'm frankly unsurprised and, to be honest, disappointed. A shame that's what players enjoy from a series born from story-rich marathon. Yeah. I think it has to be done delicately, because so far, 343's attempts to do kind of like the UNSC black and white have been met with mixed responses by the Halo community. But also, I feel like in a post-Halo Infinite world, with the UNSC looking a little bit more familiar, it would be interesting to see 343 try to do something like that. Because, you know, the best parts of Halo 5's campaign are the parts where it is not about the Halo 5 story. Like, kind of exploring Meridian and coming to grips with that colony, the life that they have, what they do, what life is like living on a glassed planet. And the kind of economies and lifestyles that form from that. And, you know, saying Helios, like, checking out what the elites are up to. Unfortunately, all of that is overshadowed just by how not very good the story is. Yeah, Halo 5 hunters are yuck, especially the white ones. Yeah, not a big fan of the Halo hunters being turned kind of like into mini-boss events. Like, I get the logic, and I think probably for the most part, the community actually prefers it. So it was probably a smart decision ultimately. But what I like about the hunters is them not being... I don't really like Halo having bosses. What I like is Halo just having enemy types. And the hunters are just a heavy enemy type. And because they are treated like just another enemy, it is okay to take them down extremely quickly, you know? You know, getting a Scorpion tank and just one-shotting them, running them over, doing some goofy stuff, putting a couple shotgun rounds into the back, and they're already dead. Like, the encounters with them aren't drawn out because they are treated kind of like an elite or a grunt. They're just another enemy type in the Covenant. They're not a mini-boss. That is kind of like, you know, hey, like, we got the spotlight and the curtains, and the hunters are here! Bum, 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 you know, where you kind of feel like the encounter is drawn out a little bit just because it's supposed to be like a hunter fight. Bungie tried that in Halo Combat Evolved, I think, for the first time that you encounter hunters. They get their own music cue, they come down the grav lift, but then outside of that, they're treated more like just an enemy type that you encounter for the rest of the campaign. So you see them a lot more. Did you not like the bosses in Infinite? I thought they were pretty neat. I did like them, that they all had their own unique personalities, voice lines and stuff. I even liked the cutscenes introducing them and stuff. What I did not like quite as much, I guess, is just within the logic of the world simulation. Because for me, all I see is like that health bar, and I'm like, what is that? Why is that up there? Is Master Chief's HUD doing that? How do you, like, measure a living being's health, you know? In like, a bar form. Like, how close something is to being dead. How does it know the creature's name? Can it do that with all the other Banished members? Why isn't it putting a health bar and names above everybody's head? So it's just like... And the reason why is because it's a video game with a health bar. But I guess, like, my point being... That hasn't been a thing Halo has done in the past, so it's just kind of like, it feels very out of sync. I guess with Halo, it feels kind of like somebody at 343 played Destiny. Because the health bar stuff in Halo started with Halo 5 Warzone, where you had, you know, Tank Master Rock, Captain Hestros, or something like that, and it's like... about a year after Destiny came out. Gotcha.
Elite firing on me. Solid hit on that. Clean kill.
I really wish Infinite Warzone was brought over to Halo Infinite. Yeah, there was this interesting thread that was posted on Twitter a little while ago by probably one of the two only prominent Halo leakers in the community. Well, I'd say three, because there's also that Halo API guy, and then Serasia, but also Bathrobe Spartan. And what he said was that the cost of creating Warzone, it took about a year to make a single Warzone map. So you have multiple teams making the maps and stuff like that. And Warzone was ultimately successful in terms of player engagement and especially revenue. But given where Halo Infinite was in development, the resources that they had, the bandwidth that they had as a studio, in terms of, like, who can they spare to kind of run off and work on this little side thing, they couldn't get a Warzone successor done. And Big Team Battle was only done in about 5 months for Halo Infinite. And you can kind of tell. Oh, yeah. Why are you itching so much, buddy? Oh, and on the topic of bosses, sorry not to go back to that, just talk about that over and over again. That also includes Halo 2. I think the bosses are kind of funky in Halo 2. Like, what is the logic behind Tartarus having so much health outside of it being narratively important that he is a boss? He has less armor than some of the other brutes around him. And so it's kind of like the same thing in the other Halo games that also have bosses, where it's just like, why does this guy have more health than everyone else outside of the fact you can see his name above his head? I feel like Halo, rather than bosses, Halo would have unique encounters that you walk away from being like, holy crap, that was a cool fight. Kind of like the Scarab in Halo 3, the hunters dropping down from the Truth and Reconciliation. The first time you see a Wraith in Halo Combat Evolved. Like, that kind of stuff is more in the vein of Halo, I think. You know, or you think in Halo Reach, like the fight through the warehouse to get to the guy that the elites took. How do you feel about the new weapon supposedly coming to Halo Infinite? I heard it's an SMG type weapon, which is exciting. That is exciting. I really hope that means 343 understands that at least for social modes, it's better to have a fully automatic weapon that is close range. Because then that gives people, like, out of spawn a little bit more room to be able to just kind of, like, run around, get a feel for the maps, you know. And you can see the other players running around, but nobody quite has the range to be able to start shooting at each other yet. So you just a little bit more room to move about with, you know. Keeps things chill, keeps things feeling less sweaty. Because Halo 5 and Halo Infinite, they do have that problem of, like, the assault rifle has just got a little bit too much range, so right out of spawn, you're able to begin initiating a fight with somebody at medium range, bordering on semi-long range with the starting assault rifle. And so it does make things feel consistently sweaty, because you're kind of always in a fight to some extent. Just a little bit more breathing room, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. You remind me of how it feels like 343 hates the Covenant weapons with how little ammo they have compared to their human versions. Well, that is usually because the 343 version of the Covenant weapons, they're stronger than previous versions. Because they're supposed to be much closer to, like, analogs. You know, think about Halo 4, the multiplayer for it. It was designed with a loadout system in mind. So, you know, to justify a player maining the Storm Rifle over the Assault Rifle, that Storm Rifle's got to be pretty good. But in order to balance it out, because it doesn't reload ever, you know, limit the amount of ammo somebody has. It's all about balancing. And also just kind of like the cost of those various things. Like when you make a choice kind of like that, it has rippling effects on other aspects of the game. So when you make a balancing choice like that, it's not in a bubble. Hot take, but I've disliked the precision weapon meta. BR starts everywhere sort of thing. Well, BR starts everywhere is more of a playlist problem. You know, if you feel like BR starts are annoying, then my advice would be don't play BR starts. And you'll have a very different gameplay experience. The reason people like the BR starts, and they tend to play those playlists, is because BR starts it... Like, if you think about Social Slayer in these two different ways, this is the way Bungie, at least, envisioned it, was Social Slayer and social modes, like 5v5. Yeah, Halo used to be 5v5 and social stuff, but it was like, okay, everybody comes out of spawn with a close range weapon, they're using their full Halo kit, they're meleeing, they're throwing grenades, and shooting their weapons, and then you find a better weapon, which is the battle rifle. It has range, but it's not as easy to use because you can't just hold down the trigger. You have to squeeze that trigger and lead into your bursts a little bit, but now you have a ton of range. And it's kind of like that's when the more fast-paced combat starts, because before that it's a lot more chill, everyone's just kind of running around having a good time. Well, competitive stuff, you cut out that free period where everyone spawns in, they've only got assault rifles, and they're all just kind of like running around, getting a feel for the map, meleeing each other and stuff like that before they find their precision weapons, and then the real sweat stuff starts. You're cutting out that early point. Everyone's got the BR from the get-go. So now it's just focused on the competitive aspect of out-shooting the other team. Yeah, so I guess it's kind of like saying, you know, precision weapon meta in regards to Halo. That feels kind of it feels like a weird thing to say, I guess. Because it's talking about Halo as if it's kind of like Call of Duty, where it's like, the P90 meta, I hate it. Like Halo, depending on the mode you play, of course there's a meta, because the modes are designed around a specific item in the sandbox. You know, nobody's going to say that Infection, the shotgun meta for Infection was so, like, the shotgun needed a nerf in Infection. Like, no, because Infection was designed around the shotgun. That was the primary gun of that mode. And for BR starts, well, it's the BR. That's the primary weapon of the mode. It's the cream of the crop. If you want something a little bit more flavorful, something where people are running around trying a lot of different things, just having a good time, less competitive, less sweaty, that's where you go for AR starts, Social Slayer. I like having the option of doing BR starts or AR starts. It adds variety without changing a whole lot. Yeah. Yeah, AR starts I actually used to like quite a lot. In Halo Reach, I thought AR starts were a lot of fun. Not on the MCC so much, because it uses the, crap, what do they call it? The like weapon tuning update or something. It's something like that. But I don't like it too much. The game wasn't designed for that type of balancing, like melee bleed through for shields, less bloom on the DMR, as well as a couple other changes. I do think it's better to play Reach as intended than kind of like these weird, a year later, ham-fisted balancing tweak. It was just called Title Update? Gotcha. Yes, at its current state, the AR doesn't really incentivize me to get a different weapon that isn't a power weapon. It's a little bit OP. Yeah, and even if you're not getting the kills, it does get exhausting with... So think about... If you're not getting the kills, think about things in terms of pressure. Think about a big team battle map in, like, Halo Reach, if everyone spawned with an AR. If there was a guy 50 feet away from you or something, or, like, even, like, 25 feet away from you, you weren't gonna kill him, right? With that assault rifle, you probably aren't even gonna hit him. You guys can see each other, but you can move around. You have a little bit of breathing room. You see that he ran into a building, you follow him, or you choose not to go into that building and you go your own way. Well, in Halo Infinite and Halo 5, because of the range the assault rifle has, a gunfight's immediately started. And even if you guys don't kill each other and do eventually break off from each other, your shields have already taken some damage, you know, your heart rate is a little bit up, and you might run into another player and you're already at a disadvantage. And that's happening everywhere, because the engagement minimum or maximum engagement distance has been expanded because the starter social weapon has been given more range. So even if you're not getting the kills, you're always taking damage from ranges that are a little bit longer than normal. So there is kind of like a constant stress. Players don't have to get close to each other anymore to get the kills. They can start firing from a distance. My wife wants to play Halo or Animal Crossing with yours. Aw, babe. Honey. Baby. This is very sweet. What? This, my wife wants to play Halo or Animal Crossing with your wife. She got into Halo because at the start of our relationship, I showed her the games and the lore in short films. Dude, Xavier, you should reach out to me on Twitter or Discord or Xbox Live or wherever.
Then I can add her on Steam.
Yeah, then she can add your wife on Steam or Xbox or Nintendo, wherever.
Yeah, we can play Animal Crossing.
That's wholesome.
I give heart hands.
My wife gives heart hands. Halo Wife Club. Yeah, right? What weapons in this game do you wish were in Halo Infinite? Oh, definitely the shotgun. The shotgun. Probably the Magnum, to be honest. Probably the Magnum. I do think with Halo 5 Strafe, the Halo Infinite Strafe specifically, the Halo 5 Magnum would probably feel pretty decent in a competitive environment. I'm trying to think. Okay, I'd like the Halo 1 Magnum. I'd like the Halo 5 Magnum. Shotgun. Brute Plasma Rifle? Yeah, Brute Plasma Rifle would be the one. Trying to think of something else. Oh, definitely, I think the missile pods. Like, basically bring over all of the turrets. Bring over all the turrets. Plasma Caster probably as well. Plasma Caster is good. Though I'd worry that the Plasma Caster wouldn't have much of a use because the primary fire for it at least has kind of been continued on through the Cinder Shot. And so for the Plasma Caster, it would be more or less kind of like the Cinder Shot, but it's got a different alt-fire mode. What is your favorite Halo? So my favorite Halo, it changes, really. Sometimes it's Halo 1, sometimes it's ODST, sometimes it's Halo 3, and it usually kind of cycles around those 3 games. It really depends on what I had for breakfast that morning. What are you playing this on? Xbox Series X. Somebody said, damn, dead already? Yes. To answer that comment, yes, I was killed very fast. Never claimed to be a competitive player, especially when I'm streaming. It's not about the crazy strats. It's about the conversations. I feel like Halo 5 felt more fluid than Infinite. Well, Halo 5, the physics engine under the hood feels more finished than Halo Infinite. It's like with Halo Infinite, you can definitely feel that like corners were cut during development. And I also do think the actual, like, you know, moving around, strafing, there's more momentum and inertia to how the player moves about, where in Halo Infinite, it's almost Doom-like in that you're kind of like very snappy. There isn't a lot of movement resistance when you're changing directions and stuff. Halo 3 and Halo 2 best soundtracks by far, definitely. Though I think all the Halo games have something to them with their soundtracks. Even Halo 4 has like 2 songs where I think parts of the songs are pretty good. Like 2 Galaxy and 117. Is it a hot take that Halo Infinite has the best gameplay in terms of sandbox? don't think so. I think people do like Halo Infinite's gameplay quite a lot. And as far as 343 games go, I do think Halo Infinite has 343's strongest weapon sandbox. Even if there are a couple weapons in that sandbox where I think 343 doesn't quite know what to do with them. Mainly the Disruptor. I really loved the song Arrival, though. So, Arrival is a song a lot of people love, and this is going to sound bonkers. I do not like Arrival at all. I feel like Arrival sounds like we have Bayformers at home. Like, that's all I picture when Arrival starts playing is Michael Bay's Optimus Prime, like, transforming and being like, one shall stand, I'm gonna rip off your face, Megatron. It's just not very Halo-y and kind of sounds like a weak imitation of a Bayformer track. It also doesn't help that my first playthrough of Halo 4's campaign was on Legendary difficulty, and I was stuck on that level in a specific encounter for a while. So just hearing the repetitive dun 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 dun, dun like over and over again, like I grew to really despise that song. Like I grew to I paid a lot of attention to that melody and the intricacies of it, and I learned to really just dislike it by the time the level was finally done. What about the track Mantis? Mantis is pretty good. Mantis is really good, in fact. I think the Halo 5 version of Mantis is a little bit more fun. Walk Softly, I think it's called in Halo 5. You know, Halo 5 soundtrack, it's frustrating because Halo 5 soundtrack, some of the quieter pieces are really good. Like, really good and very close to that kind of, like, Bungie era, like, just weird synths and kind of atmospheric-y sounds, you know? It's the bombastic stuff that I think Halo 5 soundtrack struggles with. And I don't think it's because of the composer's faults or anything. I think it was musical direction. I mean, you listen to The Light is Green, and it's like, okay, I get it. You guys went and saw Avengers 2 opening night, didn't you? You know, the one long take opening cutscene of the game, the way it just kind of, like, awkwardly cuts to the name of the game randomly. You know, there isn't, like, a clever transition. I think of, like, when Tony Stark grabbed the scepter in Avengers 2, and then it just, bam, on the screen, and it's just like, what? Why title drop now? That was, like, a weird place to put the title. And same case with Halo 5's opening cutscene. It's just like, got it. This is the Avengers. And then also behind the scenes, from one of my buddies explained to me that during development, they would constantly talk about the first Iron Man film, specifically the sequence where Tony Stark is learning how to fly his Iron Man suit, in regards to, like, the vibes Halo 5 should have. Like, your armor is the hero of the game. Like, your suit. Your Iron Man. And you can definitely hear it in the bombastic stuff that they were like, do that Avengers thing. And it's like, it's pretty good, like Halo 5's bombastic stuff. It's just not quite what Halo is, you know? Halo's bombastic stuff is usually a little bit more, like, clever and unique sounding. And usually very, very how it's like from the moment the drums start, that ba-ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-ba is constantly there, like that rhythm, and then the melody comes in, ba-ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-bum, like that. There is just constantly a part of the song that is hummable, and there's just this constant melody, the constant rhythm to it. It's almost like a heartbeat driving you. Where the bombastic stuff in Halo 5 is a little bit more kind of like scattered and very Hollywoody, with like lots of like, you know, brass and moments where the drums get really fast, and then like bum ba 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 ba, the Avengers 2. It's like not good music, just not really Halo. Hope that makes sense. Oof. Yeah, I am really not paying attention. You guys are asking some interesting things in the chat. I defended Halo 5 multiplayer since day one. The campaign is still dog-ass to this day. Halo 5's campaign has a lot of interesting spots in it. And it's kind of a shame that they're kind of like overshadowed by some of the weaker aspects. But the multiplayer, I think Halo 5's multiplayer... Halo 5's multiplayer was probably a good choice at the time, because everybody was doing the enhanced thruster pack stuff. I don't think it lended to a lot of here, let me actually like mute. I think some people are talking in the chat. Voiceover volume? No? Okay. Here, how do we mute chat? I think I have to do that, right? Mute all. There we go. It didn't lend itself, I think, to a lot of gameplay variety, because when basically, like, Halo 5's whole thing is that the skill comes from your movement abilities and your enhanced mobility, which lets you defy what you usually think of as level design. So, like, you know, what's that, a tall ledge? You mean something I can climb over. Like, that's the selling point of enhanced mobility. Is you kind of get that fantasy of, like, you know, fuck you, level design, I've got a jetpack. But because of that, you can't really design a lot of variety, because players are constantly kind of ignoring your levels and flying over them. So as far as like a variety of different experiences, unless you're willing to kind of like break the combat and have a less seamless gameplay experience from mode to mode, like some modes you can do this, some modes you can't, I don't know. It is going to feel a little bit odd. And Halo 5 definitely, you know, depending on the mode, like sometimes, you know, in ranked they had to disable certain abilities, like core gameplay abilities, versus like an older Halo game, where all you have to do is remove the weapon from the sandbox if it's broken. Can't really do that with a core player ability. Halo Infinite had some lackluster tracks. There's some really great ones, but a lot of them are just ambient tracks. I think Halo Infinite has, like, I think they're all mostly bangers. I think it's just the Endless's theme that's a little bit kind of like, a little bit uninspired. But I think of its version of Walk in the Woods, its the Bracken theme, Bracken theme, whatever it's called. Like, almost all the action stuff in Halo Infinite is fantastic. And then the atmospheric stuff is also pretty damn good. And there's a good variety of it, too. Some of it is, and I think some of that comes from the fact that there were 3 different composers who worked on the game. So you can go from something that is a lot more traditionally Halo-y in terms of atmospheric, and then suddenly it sounds like Death Stranding, you know? And it's just like, it's all here. There's a wide variety of different music, and I think it all works. Someone's asking if they're going to shelve Halo. No, they'll never shelve Halo. I think Halo is in a situation where going forward, like, they have to start playing it safe. And what I mean by playing it safe is Halo Infinite was not safe. It was very kind of, it was a gamble. Like, we're going to make this big, massive, super expensive game with an open world campaign. The multiplayer is going to be kind of like a classic Halo game, which, yes, everybody's playing BRs now, but trust us, like, this'll work. What they need to do now, you know, and it obviously didn't pay off, they need to be a little bit safer with their next game. They really need to think about, are kids going to get off of Fortnite to play this? They need to focus maybe less on, like, a concept of a game, like, this is Halo Infinite. This is a reboot, a return to form for Halo. And they need to identify a fun pitch for a game. And then refine that pitch into a prototype. And then see if people are interested. And then build that from there, you know? Rather than immediately off the bat, like, we're going to make a super expensive game that is a reboot for Halo, but also different, but also the same. Because that, I think, is probably one of Halo Infinite's biggest issues, was it had a massive budget, and it couldn't quite figure out what it was committing to until it was too late. Is a lack of catchy leitmotifs a problem with Halo 5 soundtrack? Well, right there, ironically, Halo 5 just answered right there, where it just did Fireteam Osiris's bum 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 bum. I don't think that's the strongest leitmotif. It's kind of like a riff on the Halo theme, you know, bum 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 bum, but it's played in a different key that is sort of it's like, you know, the da na 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 na, like the Egyptian-y sound. You know what I'm talking about, the stereotypically Egyptian-y sound. It's played in that key. So rather than bum 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 bum, you get more of a like a bum 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 bum. I sound like an idiot right now, but hopefully you understand what I'm talking about. I don't even want to know what LNG's KD ratio is going to be after this game. Hey, Charlie Grimm, don't worry about it, because guess what? Because this game is skill-based matchmaking, that just means I'm going to get thrown into easier lobbies. So either way, I win. Halo 5 has leitmotifs. I just think the Osiris, like, theme isn't the strongest. It's just, it's too Avengers-y. You know, hearing this, I could hear this in the background of, like, that Square Enix Marvel's Avengers game. And that's not to say that they need to use the ba-ba-ba-ba, ba-ba-ba-ba, you know, or even the da-da-da-da-da, like, over and over again, because ODST has shown us that you can create new leitmotifs that do still have that Halo DNA, but they are definitely new notes. Is it weird that I don't have a problem with smart scoping? I just don't like how it buffs the weapons. But the animations are good. I prefer classic Halos, by the way. The smart scoping, I think what I take more issue with is the audacity to like, you know, just own up to it. It's aiming down the sights. Like, that's more of what I take issue with, where it's like, what is this smart scoping? Come on. Come on, Call of Duty's popular, like, just own up to it, okay? Halo 5 is aiming down the sights. Stop with this, like, technically it's a smart link technology, a new form of it called smart scope. It's like, no, your Spartan's aiming down the sights with their gun. Come on, just be honest. Oh, here's a fun fact about this. So, in the files for Halo Combat Evolved, Bungie stored the Halo 1 pistol in, like, I think it was, the way it was explained to me, it was, like, reversed. So, usually, Halo Combat Evolved, you have the third-person model, which is lower quality, and then the first-person model, which is a lot higher quality. And they're all stored the exact same way for all of the sandbox items, but for some reason the Magnum was actually reversed. And when 343 brought this model to Halo 5, they must have not known that. And so the model here in my hand, it's actually the third-person model, which is of lower quality. That's why the Halo 1 Magnum in Halo 5 looks so low quality compared to the actual one from Halo 1. They accidentally pulled the wrong model from Halo 1's files. Here, since this stream is going terribly. Hey, Isaiah's here. You want to hop on, buddy? I'm having some trouble finding matches. Let's play some Warzone, my dude. LNG pre-rendered scenes or in-game ones? Definitely prefer in-game ones. I do think in-game, like when you play Halo 5 versus Halo 2 Anniversary back in the day, there was more continuity between the visuals of Halo 5's cutscenes and its gameplay than there were for Halo 2 Anniversary. Halo 2 Anniversary, it was kind of like you're watching a CGI movie, and then a video game boots up. You know, where with Halo 5, it feels more like you're, you know, watching a cutscene, and then gameplay starts. We'll get some kills with this guy. Halo Wars 1 soundtrack is really good. Feels so natural. Yeah, Halo Wars 1. That soundtrack is very good. And I think definitely evidence that that Halo style isn't just a thing that was unique to Marty O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore. It is something that you can study and replicate. Another good example is the Spartan Assault and Spartan Strike games. Damn it. Where's the Jackal video? It's almost done, believe it or not. Believe it or not. And then I want to get started on the evolution of Halo's Warthog. And hopefully that'll be a lot smoother of a development than this Jackal video. I kind of wish Halo 5 Arbiter looked like he was shown in the Halo 2 Anniversary starting cutscene where he speaks to Locke. This is going to sound super weird. I prefer how he looks in Halo 5. I think the armor feels more refined in Halo 5. Halo 2 Anniversary, it's hard to explain. He looks like... In Halo 2 Anniversary, it looks like a guy cosplaying the Arbiter, where in Halo 5, it looks like the Arbiter. Not like the actual, you know, like face and everything. But I guess like the the armor looks more sculpted to that Elite's physique, where in Halo 2 Anniversary, he looks very skinny. He just kind of looks like a dude. You know, he comes in and he's like, what is it? Like, I do not trust you, he may, but I do not, noted. And then, my trust is not the issue today, Spartan Lock. And then Arbiter comes in, and he just looks like a guy. Like, his shoulders are a little bit slumped, he looks really skinny, and he's got this armor that hangs off him kind of loosely. Where in Halo 5, it does feel more like it was purpose-built for that Elite model. And so it fits it better. Like, if the Arbiter were to come back, I think you'd have to redesign that armor to fit into the new Elite model. Or, you know, the Halo Infinite version, if that's the model they're going to start using for Elites going forward. I would prefer that they redesign the armor so that it fits better. Yeah, I don't know, something about it in Halo 2 Anniversary, that cutscene. He just... My trust is not the issue, Spartan Lock. Sorry, I just got out of the shower. He just looks so little. He looks very silly. Where in Halo 5, just him like coming into the tent, he looks so fucking old and like ancient wearing that armor, and it fits him so well. The spines are like retracting and extending as he like lifts his head or hunches down. Like it... I do wonder if that that CGI cutscene for Halo 2 Anniversary, they more or less just took like the armor pieces that were clearly designed for the Halo 5 Elite body type and just slapped it over the Halo 2 Anniversary Elite. And it doesn't fit, but they were under time constraints. First person equals view model, third person equals world model. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Thank you for specifying that. I hope they keep the same Elite model from Halo Infinite. They probably will. There will probably be further modifications made, because if they're going to be moving over to, like, the Unreal Engine, it's not exactly like they can just have their whole animation system seamlessly ported over. Like, they're going to have to rebuild some stuff, and with that will probably come a little bit of tinkering. You know, some things that bug the artists, they'll probably iron out a little bit. But that general look, I think, what was very smart was that they didn't just make them Halo 2 Anniversary Elites. They clearly took the Halo Reach design. What is... I didn't know. I've never used this Hydra before. I didn't know it has 2 zooms. Okay. They took the Halo Reach head morph. And... so they took the Halo Reach head morph, which does look more monstrous and kind of like intimidating than the Halo 2 Anniversary one, which is a lot more, you know, human and empathetic because, you know, it's for Halo 2 Anniversary. You gotta be able to emote, you've gotta, you know, see the Arbiter's eyes, the pain in his eyes and stuff. So they, you know, started off with a more monstrous design, which was Halo Reach's, and then they softened it up a little bit so that they can emote easier. And ended up at Halo Infinite's Elite design. And then you take the armor from Halo Reach and Halo 4, which were more complex and more varied. And you kind of, you know, change up the textures, change up the materials, some of the angles and stuff to get them more in line with the art direction Halo Infinite had. And Bob is your uncle. Go up here with this guy. My poor dog is itching so much. We got a flea on him. Well, I mean, we pulled it off, but it's like he's still itching a couple days later. So I don't know if like the flea just really had a lot of snacky snacks on him, or you know, and he's got a lot of bug bites that are still healing, or if there's still a nasty poo-poo guy that's hiding on him that we gotta find. Yeah, we'll try out the Hannibal Wasp. The Phaeton has some nice sound design. Oh yeah, the crunchy, very crunchy sounding. Very magnetic. go over here. Oh, this guy's gonna eat me, isn't he? He didn't eat me. I don't know how to use this thing. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh lord. We gotta get out of here. Halo Infinite had the best designs to me, in my opinion. Jaga is one of the coolest looking characters of all time. Yeah, the Blade Master, that is a cool looking elite. Cyborg Predator elite. With robot arm and robot mandibles. He does give like Shadow the Hedgehog vibes a little bit. Which I'm all for. They could have that species return as an elite heavy or something. Oh, the Halo 5 elite? Yeah. You could have it be like you could have it be like a class of elite that holds turrets. Or even the fuel rod gun elites. Hi, buddy. Oh. He's got a croc. He's got a treat in his mouth and he came to show it to me. Now he's waddling away. I forgot the Wasp and Banshee had shields in this game. Not sure why they removed it. Probably because people thought it was, like, annoying. I appreciate what they were doing, though. And I actually do largely agree with it. It's trying to visually represent the health system that, like, Halo 3 had, where your vehicle is tied to your health under the hood. So in Halo 3, your Warthog, after taking damage, can actually heal itself alongside you, the driver. Where in Halo Reach, they got rid of that completely, and so your Warthog's health is more linear. But in Halo 5, they brought it back, and they tried to visually represent it to the player via, like, shields. And I think because players could see now that your vehicle's health was a little bit more dynamic because of a shield, they perceived it as being more annoying. And so they just ultimately got rid of it, and then with Halo Infinite, they tried to do this, like, procedural destruction system where you know, blow off different bits, and I largely don't think that that has been good or fun. I think the best thing they can do is, honestly, just do the Halo 3 health system. I think it worked the best. Which is worse, Jackal Snipers or Rocket Flood? Probably Jackal Snipers. Because, like, Rocket Flood are easy to avoid. None of them are bad. Maybe I'm just, like, decent at the campaigns. It's hard to say. Like, none of them are bad, you know? Come on, show yourself. Damn it. Aiming in Halo 5 strikes again. Halo 4 helmet corners distract me a lot, not gonna lie. Oh, yeah, like in the campaign. Yeah, a little bit distracting, I guess. It's, I think the only game where that kind of stuff didn't bother me, well, only 2 games, was the Titanfall series when you're in a Titan, and BioShock when you're BioShock 2, the one where you are one of the big daddies, so you have that massive helmet, and it's kind of like the game's UI is constantly reminding you of that. Outside of that, though, I don't know. I guess I don't have strong opinions about it either way. If it's in a game, if the helmet corners are there for like immersion's sake, that's cool. I'd have CE's elites as the default appearance with the reach and 4 designs, the latter with slight changes. I am playing right now out of the corner of my eye as I read this. Included, you can't shoot me. Included as cosmetic permutations. Gotcha. Okay. I wonder if they could all... You'd probably have to design different animation skeletons, right? Oh, did you give him that? No? Okay, he came up to me to show it to me. Did you find it? Helmet Corners was my nickname in high school, says Daniel. All the kids bullied me. They called me old Helmet Corners. Say, hey, Helmet Corners, did you do my homework? And then they'd throw me into a dumpster upside down.
We got Spartans here.
Late night, spoilers for those who haven't finished Infinite, but do you think Atriox is still a threat, or is he having a change of heart? I think he is still a threat. I think they made it very explicitly, obviously clear that he is angry and out for blood. I don't think, like, his homeworld is going to be destroyed, and then he's going to be like, oh, maybe I've gone too far. I should team up with the humans. Like, at the end of Halo Infinite, he looked pretty mad, if you ask me. Let's try out, this. The light rifle, right? That's a pretty cool aiming down the sights animation, right? Hey, LMG, what breed is your dog? It is a Shih Tzu. They are hilarious. It's like imagine like a teddy bear pretending to be a dog. So there's also like a lot of comedy value with Shih Tzus because like they are genetically the closest descendants of like the original like wolves that were domesticated, which is just crazy because like it looks like a teddy bear, like it looks like the furthest thing from an actual dog ever. But because of that, they can be very territorial, and they have incredibly strong personalities, Shih Tzus. But it's like the audacity of you to think that you're like this apex wolf, like barking at other dogs. Like you were like bred for cuddles, you know? Yeah. It's like this cloud thinks that people are scared of him. Yeah, they're very cute dogs, Shih Tzus. And they don't shed either. So it's just kind of like, you know, we call for him, and then we hear the pitter-pattering of feet, and then, like, a pillow with a wagging tail runs into the room. You're describing a rat. No, rats, yeah, rats are, long and scheming. Shatsus are fat and... What's something that rhymes with scheming? Preening. Well, rats preen a lot, so...
Get out of here! We won't have no Shih Tzu slander. Bred for cuddles, born to kill.
Yeah, he's born to kill and hunt, but he was not given the body to do that. Yeah, so Pumpkin's very funny. That's his... Oh, also, like, to rub salt in the wound of the fact that nobody thinks he's scary, is his name is Pumpkin. So we're going for a walk. He sees a dog that is like 5 times his size, And this little guy starts scooting and barking angrily and trying to look so freaking scary. And it's like, shut up, your name's Pumpkin. Like, come on, little baby. I'm gonna carry you like a baby.
Hi, Titi. What is it, Budgie? Hi, Pumpkin.
And they're crazy expressive, their faces.
Hi, Titi. Hi, Buddy. Was that yummy?
He's scooting right now. Let's see if I can get him to bark. No luck, he's just staring at me. He's waiting for me to make the first move. His ears are, well, as up as they can be.
Where's your toy? Where's your toy, Titi? Find it. Where's your toy?
He is just staring at me and like drooling, and he is trembling with the anticipation that I'm about to start chasing him.
Where's your toy? Where's it, Titi? Oh, Titi.
Okay, I can't get him to make any sounds. He's so loud, but now he doesn't want to make any noise. Ask him how he feels about Halo 5.
What do you think of Halo 5? Do you like Halo 5? Do you like Halo 5?
He's just tilting his head at me. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get an answer out of him because he can't communicate in the English language.
Do you like Halo 5?
He's still tilting his head, but he got very close to me. So he thinks I'm saying something important that he doesn't understand. He's tilting his head right now. He thinks I'm talking to him.
What is it, Titi? Do you like Halo 5?
Do you like tilting your head? Do you like Warzone? This map again? Palmer, please put on a different simulation. I wonder what, like, he thinks when I'm, like, streaming or editing or something. Like, does he understand that I'm not just sitting here for hours and hours staring at, like, a window? Like, he's like, oh, here we go. They're gonna be weird, and they're just gonna, like, sit in those things and not move for hours. You know what we could probably do, chat? We could probably hop over to Infection. Check that out. It's been so long since I played a good version of Infection. Here, let's leave the game. Social. Infection. Here we go. Name should be Nuclear Missile. His name should be Murder Heart Shadow Kill. For Pumpkin? That's a pretty good name for him. Aw, baby curled up on the ground now. I also looked on line, and so now his various different lays. I didn't know that, like, dogs have lays, like, when they lay on the ground, that have different meanings. One, they have, like, their I'm tired and I'm laying down lay. They have their I'm tired and I'm cooling off lay. And then they also have the I'm patiently waiting for you lay. And right now he's doing the I'm patiently waiting for you lay. I'm sorry, buddy. I despise 2 and 3's vehicle health system. It made vehicle combat utterly inconsistent. Ghosts would have grunt pilots die from glancing shots, but could tank multiple direct rockets with elite ultra pilots. Okay. Okay, that's fair. That's a fair criticism of them. What do you think of for multiplayer, having it be tied to player health? Why are Halo CE vehicles low-key invincible when not driving it? That's a good question. I don't think the Warthog can be destroyed in Halo Combat Evolved. Is nobody playing Infection? I really wish they gave us more HUD customization tied it to colors. Yeah, me too. Prior to Halo Infinite's launch, I asked one of the developers about that. And he said basically that like under the hood, the way that the Halo engine does HUD stuff, it's not like, you know, the Ubisoft games like The Division 2, where you can subtract or add HUD things and you can move them about on the screen and kind of create your own perfect HUD. With Halo's engine, it's kind of what you see is what you get. And in order for them to have different HUDs, they'd have to do some massive tinkering to let people have that ability. And they said that they would explore it if there was enough demand, but then, you know, the game came out, didn't do too hot, a bunch of people got fired or quit, and now who knows if they even have the staff that would be capable of doing something like that. Not to mention, is there even, like, a budget for something like that? Would you want Halo 5 on PC, or is it not worth it? It probably wouldn't be the Halo game that I'd play a lot, but I do want it on PC. If nothing more than for it making video creation a lot easier, as well as, you know, the potential for mods and stuff like that. You should have named him Abaddon, the Great Harbinger of the Underworld or something. The Shih Tzu? Okay, yeah, nobody's playing Halo 5 Infection. Man, you know what the peak of Infection was? It was Halo Reaches. That Living Dead playlist was so awesome. There's a buddy of mine, Jonathan is his name, and he'd come over after school and we'd do split screen Living Dead. Here, we'll play quick play then. We'll see if anybody's in this. LNG, apparently there was a cut plan for a Halo movie trilogy back in the 2000s. Bummer. Oh, not only was there a plan, you can read one of the scripts. It was released online. I think it was, what was his name? Wait. Garland Halo movie. Yeah, Alex Garland. Andrew Garland. No. Andrew Garland. No, Alex Garland? What is this? People are giving different names. It's the, not too familiar with the director, but he's the guy who did 28 Days Later, I think. There was a leaked Halo script. Yeah, it's, the leaked Halo script is like, it's an adaptation of Halo 1, and it's, you know, some places are rough. There's a bizarre love triangle between Cortana and Foehammer, if I remember right, the pilot of the Pelican from Halo 1 that had, like, 7 lines. Which is like, it's an early 2000s movie, of course there is. Like, if you're a woman in this movie, your job is to be in love with the main character. But then there was some goofy stuff, mainly in the finale, where rather than doing rather than having Captain Keyes be at the Truth and Reconciliation again, and like they have to punch his head out to get like the little data chip in it, they skip all that and they just go like right back to the Pillar of Autumn to activate the fusion reactors. And a floodified Captain Keyes is waiting for him, and the flood is speaking through him, and he's like, I am the inevitable, I am the flood. And then he uses like mind telepathy, and Chief is like pulled into his mind, and the flood's taking control of his mind with mind control, and Cortana's like, fight it, Chief. Like, that stuff's very silly. Like, very, very silly. But outside of that, it seemed like kind of fun. Like, Chief had like a minor little antagonist with, there's like this elite in black armor that's like hunting him across the Halo ring. That's kind of like a minor antagonist. I don't think it has any speaking roles at all. It's just kind of like, you know, when it shows up, it shows up. And that was one of the many scripts that was written for the Halo movie. Oof. Zuka Zamam. I don't know. I don't know what you're saying, man. I'm like, I don't know if maybe it's because I'm older, but I am not gonna be that guy that unironically calls the Arbiter Thelvatomy. Like, I can barely remember my social security number. I do not have room in my brain for this goofy-ass alien name. I'm sorry. He's the Arbiter. Yes. Oh, man. The only alien names that I allow into my that I will say from Halo are the names for the grunts because they're funny, and the brutes because they sound really cool and they sound like demons from the underworld, like Tartarus. But like the elites, where it's like, oh no, it's Jaga Erdomni. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, that's like, just shut up, man. That is so silly as far as like pet peeves go, but hey, it is what it is. Sounds like Zuka Zamami from the Halo CE novelization. I assume that's probably what they were doing. You know, they were adapting some stuff. Like, as far as like adaptations go, it probably could have been okay, like as a movie. Oh no, I got assassinated! Holy moly! Dude, assassinations were cool. Do you know about the engineer named Roams Alone? What? Barack Obama, spelled like an elite's name. Zaitanjar Watrinry looking at. Yeah, basically. Shut the fuck up. You're the shipmaster, okay? Like, the shipmaster is a cooler name than whatever the fuck that fake alien name is. Oh. Oh my god. Joe O'Bideny. That's pretty good. Ah. But seriously, that moment with the flood-crazed Marine in the Halo script was amazing. I'll have to do like a live reading of it on a stream. Oh man, you know what, guys? Guys. How would you all like, before the end of the month, a live reading from Alex or Andrew, whatever his name is, Garland's Halo script, done by me? Oof, there we go. All right. Oh boy. That was reflex right there. Or not reflex, instinct. I thought it was like Halo Infinite, where you just run over the overshields and you just get them in your pocket for later. What could we put then on the background for the Halo script stream then? Just so you're not all like bored to tears. Okay, so now that the Halo show is over, what are your thoughts, and would you have liked to see a season 3? So the Halo show, it's hard for me to detach my emotional experiences because the Halo show released alongside pretty important life situations, like one of them being moving into an apartment with my wife, then my fiance, for the first time, and us, like, you know, bonding, learning to live together, like, and then the second season released, unfortunately, while my mother-in-law was battling cancer. So I can say that it's not a great adaptation of Halo, but that show provided every week for like a brief stint, you know, both seasons, a week where for an hour, there was nothing to worry about, you know? And so because of that, it's hard to kind of like be like, man, screw that Halo show. That thing was stupid, right? Master cheeks, am I right? Next time around, though, I do hope that they do something that's more faithful to the source material. Now that the Halo show is over, what are your thoughts? Would you have liked to see a season 3? I'm not even sure what they could like do with a season 3, because I feel like with the Halo show, unfortunately, too many narrative problems had compounded on themselves. And so what you kind of ended up with was, by the end of season 2, you still don't know what the Halo rings are. Or who made them. Are they Covenant? I don't know. You don't really know what the Covenant are or what they want. You know, like, so, I read this interesting comment from somebody on one of the Halo, like, scenes. It was the one with Captain Keyes. Like, there were some people who, like, weren't familiar with the games. They didn't even know that, like, the Jackals were a different species from the Elites. Like, they thought the Grunt was, like, the baby, and then the Jackal was like the teenager, and then the Elite was the grown-up. Like, they thought it was one alien creature. And that's not like, you know, audience is stupid. That's like the show just did like a very bad job of like world building. And so it's like season 3, you still don't know what the Covenant are, what the Halo rings are, what the Forerunners are. The Spartans you understood, but like everything else about the world just didn't, it wasn't explained very well. And it's like, oh, by season 3 you finally start to explain why the antagonists are doing what they're doing? Wait, huh? No, see, don't say LOL what, because if you have never played a video game before, you know, and have never seen, like, you've never played a game, so you don't even know that there's, like, first-person shooters or like, different enemy types. Like, what does that mean, you know? Because there are people like that. Case in point being my sister-in-law. She did not know that there were, like, military shooters. Just because she's tuned out. Like, you know, she's in New York, art director, like, you know? She's living her life, watching her shows and stuff. Like, nothing, no interest in games. And there are lots of people like that. So watching the Halo show, you don't know what these aliens are. You see a little one. You see a slightly bigger one that kind of has the same legs, and then the tall one that has the same legs. Like, I don't know, maybe the little one's the baby. Because, I mean, did the Covenant, did they even explain that they were a conglomeration of different alien species? Remember the worms? What were the worms? Take yourself out of Halo for a second, okay? We're Halo fans. We're nerds. We can say, oh, the worms are the Legolo. They're from the planet Glorbon 5 or so. Like, don't be a nerd for a second. What were those worms? What was that giant foot? Remember the lady, the Covenant lady, was standing in front of something that was really tall. We never got a good look at it, and it had a metal boot. And then, like, a worm fell off it, and then there were just worms, and then you never saw the worms again. What was that? I don't know. Who knows? The show never explains.
We're in the lead.
Were the hunters ever in the show? Only seen like 2 to 3 episodes. The hunter was probably too expensive to do, to be honest. So you see a foot of a hunter. Like, the camera is on the floor looking up at the human Covenant lady. And there is, in the foreground of the shot, is the boot of a hunter. And, like, you can hear it, like, growling, and then, like, a worm, like, slithers down the boot onto the floor. You know, and then they cut away, and then in the next scene, she's got, like, hunter worms following her.
We're in the lead.
That's why I didn't watch the show. Yeah, so, you know, things like the grunts. What are the grunts? Who knows? Show doesn't explain. The jackals? They sorta look like, the guys. Like, they have the same legs, at least, right? You know, the jackals and the elites, they have the same exact leg type. So, I don't know. One of them's taller, one of them's shorter. Maybe it's like different generations of the same alien. Like, who knows? The show doesn't. And that's just sort of the problem, I think, with the Halo show, is if you were to be going into a season 3, still don't quite know what those aliens are. What their deal is. Why they hate humans. Because in the Halo show, it seemed kind of like they weren't properly at war. They were in almost more of like a standoff. To the point that, like, some outer colonies didn't even believe that the Covenant existed, you know? Let's run this way. Oof. Oofa. Hang on. Yeah, I got my little headshot. Good shows and good games have very similar first impressions. You start from zero and you start building up knowledge of the world and characters in a super satisfying way. Yep. Yeah, and listen, you don't want to start a Halo show by immediately overloading the person with like, oh my god, we're so excited that you're here, we love Halo too. Okay, so these are the Covenant and the Forerunners of Prometheans, Didac, blah, 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 blah. Like, you don't want to overload in episode 1, you know? Nevertheless, like, the first season. Because then, like, it'll just be like, how many proper nouns do, how many proper nouns does, like, the person have to remember? You know, in order to get into this show. Like, it just becomes, like, too much up front. So you gotta start by focusing on something. And the Halo show, I think, made the mistake of focusing too much on the Spartan program. Like, I think the Spartan program should have been something for Season 2. Like, Season 1 established the Covenant, established the Spartans, and, like, the Covenant are a threat. They want to wipe everybody out. The Covenant worship this weird, mysterious technology, and they're after it. And then Season 2, you can introduce, like, oh, remember those Spartans, those super cool guys? Yeah, about them. They might be illegal. Like, you know, then you can get into that stuff. So I just think, unfortunately, like, the Halo show was just kind of like, it started off on the wrong foot, focusing on the wrong things. And there wasn't a lot of salvaging that could be done, because, you know, for Season 2, you do the Fall of Reach, but you don't really know what Reach is, or, like, the importance of Reach in the Halo universe. You don't really know what the Covenant are, still. So them glassing Reach, it's kind of like, what's happening? And I still don't think the Halo ring itself is very clear. You know, what is it? What's it supposed to be? They do say it's like a super weapon, right? But, like, why? And then there's kind of like an alien virus, but it's like, yeah, just like very confusing, I guess. Yeah, but the emotion chip. Yeah, the emotion chip, I think, was not like a great idea, because all that did was it made Chief look like unhinged and not as heroic, because in the books he was raised. In the books, he was unhinged as a kid. Like, he did what he wanted. He didn't have a lot of self-control. And he was bigger and stronger than other kids. And so in the book, like, obedience and thinking things through critically, like, those are skills that Chief learned. And so by the time he's, like, an adult, that, like, stoicness, like, that is a skill that he's built up over the years. And that's why he's so heroic. And it makes him very, like, you know, inspirational. Or aspirational, I guess.
Slayer.
But in the show, those weren't skills that he had. Those were the side effects of an emotion-inhibiting chip. So when we see that chip taken out of him, he comes off like a lunatic. Like, just an insane lunatic.
The lead.
Like, it's fine as, like, a RoboCop type, you know, story thing, but it's just for like the kind of protagonist that the Master Chief is, and that they were trying to make him in the show, the game version of Chief would have worked better for the story. Like him like yelling and jumping into the air like a Super Saiyan and trying to punch like the old lady while screaming like an angry monkey.
We're in the lead.
Just wasn't the best direction for that character. It doesn't make him endearing. Makes it seem like he kind of needs to be, you know, put on like Prozac. Wait, is the show trying to portray a younger Chief? I'm confused. No, it's just, like, it's just Chief. Because in the books, Chief kind of, like, learns how to be a leader before he's 20. The emotional chip inhibitor really pisses me off because there's no reason to make it that way except pure laziness. No. Well, okay, what are they being lazy about? You know, I don't think there's anything, like, lazy. Like, they weren't trying to get out of something. Unfortunately, I think they actually ended up making more work for themselves, not just, like, narratively, but also writing-wise, because now you've, like, introduced this thing that kind of makes your main lead look like an asshole. The reason that the emotional inhibitor chip is there is so that Master Chief can be angry and yelling and arguing with people for drama. It's there for drama, as an excuse for drama. Like, remember in the first season, everybody in that Halo show was constantly at each other's throats. They were constantly arguing with each other or complaining or like, it's just like, it was like the most dysfunctional space military I've ever seen in my life. Nobody got along. And it's for drama. From what I understand, Paramount's Star Trek stuff is also very similar. Where it's just kind of like, excuses for just people arguing because that's dramatic and that's drama. The emotion chip is a lazy writing device. I don't think it's a lazy writing device, because, I mean, RoboCop did it, you know? Inhibiting, what's his name's emotions. It's fine. The emotional inhibitor chip, like, fine, you know? The problem is it was used not in the correct situation, which is, like, the Master Chief. If you want to use the game version of him, who is super heroic and he knows what he's doing and he's very level-headed and cool, like, you can't do this emotional inhibitor chip thing, because then he does not come across as level-headed and cool. He comes across as, like, insane. What it really does feel like is it feels like, well, you know, this Halo show, we know that it's been through production hell. It sounds like something that a completely different creative team came up with, and then they pivoted hard. Because this Halo show began production before Halo 5 came out. Like, that Halo show has seen so much change within just, like, the Halo IP itself. Like, 343 doing their Halo 5 thing, the, like, Master Chief is sad, Master Chief is a traitor, Master Chief is, you know, AWOL. Now Master Chief is the hero of humanity again with Halo Infinite. Like, it's been through so much change with the Halo brand itself that you can kind of, like, see the different eras of when the Halo show was concepted in it. Like, a lot of the, like, emotional inhibitor, Spartan stuff, like, melodrama, like, that comes across as being born out of the like, Halo 4 and 5 days of when the Halo show was being conceived. But then, like, you know, the armor, the 117, the, like, he's the hero we need, you know, and all of that stuff, and the Covenant, like, all that stuff comes across as, like, kind of like a recent, like a Halo Infinity thing. Even the fact that Atriox is there for some reason in Season 1. Like, Halo Infinite was coming out. Put Atriox in.
Sniper's up.
You know? It just, Season 1, you can really see
Take kills from the win.
the problems of its production. And, like, how long it had been in production for, and how many hands it had been passed through. You know, and I know a lot of people, are angry, I guess, like, that Kiki Wolf kill was actually, like, promoted to the head of, like, Xbox. Xbox Media, I think it was. You know, after not being too happy with her at 343, but also being unable to articulate exactly what she did at 343. But I wonder if part of the reason that she was actually promoted to that head of, like, Xbox Media or whatever was not because people fail upwards, but more so that she was able to, like, light fires under people's asses and actually get the thing out the door when it probably could have been canceled multiple times. And ultimately, the Halo show was a failure, but the fact it happened is kind of incredible, because in any other situation, it would have been canceled a while ago. But who knows? Those are just my thoughts. Alrighty. Worst Halo game, LNG. Worst Halo game. The worst Halo game will have to be that Nova for the iPhone, done by, was it Gameloft? I think it was Gameloft that did Nova. That's the worst Halo game, is Nova for the iPhone. But I did play Nova a lot because, you know, when you're in the backseat of the car and you got a bit of a drive and you want to play Halo, but, you know, the technology for a portable video game console did not exist yet. At least you got this little mobile game ripoff of Halo. But yeah, guys, it's getting late where I am. Well, not late, but I'm going to hang out with my wife. This was a fun stream. I'm glad you all joined. Take care of your body. But, yeah, I will...